live from America's home for racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The new year for the 2026 Stars Championship Series presented by Mazda Motorsports, ready to get underway with 3 back-to-back Pro Division main events. The OKN Juniors on the grid, and as we get set to bring their main event to green, we'd like to ask that all in attendance please rise and remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get helmets on and to get ready to get after the action for the first of our 3 Pro Divisions. OKN Junior gearing up here for action on the racetrack. And, well, let's take a look at our Kart Class official track map preview here of what is in store around this 6.5 10th mile 11-turn circuit here. Caleb, take us through a lap at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Look, firstly, you start off going into turn number 1. This has been one of the biggest passing zones that we've seen here this weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. You can set up a move, but look, also easy to hold on to it around the outside. Going into turn number 3, then the chicane sections. 3 and 4 sets up the run all the way back to turn number 8, 5 and 6. Out of 7, you can make a move in turn number 8, but like we saw yesterday in Shifter with Jay Irvin and AJ Myers, it could get close, maybe a little bit too close for comfort. Then the run up to turn number 10. This corner's been tricky as well. A lot of moves being made through here, but you also see a lot of crossovers and moves being set up as well as they work their way down to turn number 11, 12, 13, and 14, which is really one of the corners that is set up, I think, some of the most decisive results here this weekend. And we've seen a lot of that out of Travis Pettit, who already got a win to his name this weekend. Tristan Murphy looking to get one in OKNJ. And Neil Katowski, who has been dominant. But again, lost in KA Junior, looking to get one back here in OKNJ.
Nico Katowski's been the kid to beat in the class overall. 2 motos in the books to set the starting lineup here for the field, and they are ready for these direct drive engines to get pushed off on the front straightaway. And here's a look at how they'll fully grid up for this final. It'll be none other than the 192 machine getting ready to lead them to green. Alongside him, Travis Pettit. Both of them already having a race where they started towards the front of the field earlier today in KA Junior. Now they go back again from the front of the pack here in OKNJ. Parker Ives, Liam Nachawati on that second row, all the way back to Liam Nachawati back on the end of the field in row number 12, going to the back. He was a front runner yesterday in the main group of 6. But he'll start on the outside of row number 6 here, if all's correct, with our lineup for today. William Vitor, Parker Ives, Marco Samet on the entry list. Maxwell Macha won the second moto yesterday. He ended up, though, unfortunately, with a DQ from the first moto, and he won that second moto with a steering wheel coming off. It was wild to watch, and now this one should be wild as well, as they head to the front stretch to take the green. The first of the final 3 main events, OKN Junior underway.
A good move around the outside for Liam Nachawati to get himself up to 3rd ahead of Parker Ives. Keep an eye on Marco Samet. A DNF couldn't get going in Moto number 2. Puts himself already clear of a couple. Up front, Nico Katowski getting pressured from behind, and Liam Nachawati to the bottom of the racetrack. Into turn number 8, he's clear for second.
Just like that, Liam Nachawati getting right after the leader here. He didn't lose any bit of time making that pass for second. Let's see if he goes right for it. At the end of the first lap, Nico won't give him a choice, and now Murphy's going to get fed to the wolves. Travis Pettit gets through, and so did. It looked like Marco Salmon on Ives. He did, and now Katowski. Something happened at the end of the front stretch. He lost time, but Nachawati gets sent way wide. Nico wanted the lead back there at the end of lap number 1. Went for it, couldn't quite pull it off.
And again, he was just all over in the marbles. Liam Nachawati just all out of shape, back to 4th, and then Travis Pettit now. He's going to challenge for the lead. He's got it into turn number 8 to the point for Travis. And Katowski, does he answer? And at turn number 10, yes he does. Side by side, Katowski's back to the point.
There's a weird moment there down at turn number 1. Now it's just totally going crazy. Tristan Murphy trying to climb the curbing, but that'll bog him down. And Travis Pettit will get to the line first here at the end of lap number 2. Katowski second, Murphy third as they roll around the first 2 turns. 2 laps in the books. It doesn't seem like we're settling in at all here, Caleb.
Yeah, Liam Nachawati with a move there in turn number 1 on Tristan Murphy, able to get that one done. Good move there out of the driver in the Paralin to get himself back clear. And again, all the battling in between the leaders brought Nachawati back into play, and now Parker Ives making moves down into turn number 8. He was able to get clear ahead of Marco Salmon and get himself into the top 5. Now, going to look to chase down the leaders who have calmed down just a little bit, and I stand corrected. Tristan Murphy inside of turn 14. He's clearing through for 3rd.
Yeah, Nachawati had a good rebound lap, but then didn't really do much with it once he got in front of Murphy, so back goes Tristan in front of the Paralin driver. Beyond him, keeping an eye on that massive scrum for 5th. Parker Ives now at the helm of it. He kind of got swarmed in the opening couple of laps of this main, but he's got himself in a good spot with a little bit of a gap back to Marco Salmon. Then it's Grayson Walcott. Maxwell Macha, the Moto 2 winner, now getting past him at the end of the backstretch. That was for 7th. Lawrence Perriman, William Vitor, Achilles Sapurko, Cameron Johnson, tail end Charlie here at the end of the last lap as they roll over to 14. And this will be 4 laps complete as we now, I can say it, I feel like, settle in for the OKN Junior main event, fully underway for the afternoon rotation.
As we look now, top of your screen, Parker Ives, fastest on the racetrack. That Ryan Perry Motorsports Ives racing machine is closing in on Liam Nachawati here, 40.784, and you see him start to come in a frame as they work their way onto the backstretch, looking to get closer to teammate Tristan Murphy in the 111. But that being said, we watched Maxwell Macha. He's up 1 spot, only up to 7th, even with all the fighting that's gone on up at the front. So Macha was really good yesterday in the warmer conditions. It's a topic that we've talked about a whole lot so far today when we looked at all the semi-pro divisions, and even now as we head into the pro show with the juniors, of what exactly the challenges have been for all these drivers. And look, Parker Ives doesn't have many challenges at the moment. He's going to have 4 of them ahead of him. And Nachawati, Murphy, Katowski, and Pettit, but he is lightning fast at the moment. 40.491 for Parker Ives, who's arriving on the scene with a top 4.
Like you said, Caleb, he looked like he was making progress yesterday in terms of pace. Yeah, he didn't end up with a moto win. He didn't start all too good on the grid for this one, but now, at the end of this lap, he's got 4th away from Nachawati. Parker Ives rolling here at a home race for him, and move him now to only 1.3 seconds back from early race leader Travis Pettit, who has started to build a bit of a margin back to the likes of Nico Katowski and Tristan Murphy, just ever so slightly, as he found himself in a good position with a lot of space. Parker Ives, another one, that'll be 3rd.
Again, if you look down to the right-hand side of his cart, still no tape ripped off that radiator just yet, Xander. Again, we talked about how cool it was out here, just wanting to get that OKNJ package up to temperature, and it's maybe a little bit different than what we're seeing out of some other drivers. Nachawati looks like his flap is all the way down, but that is something to notice here for a driver like Parker Ives with the track temp that is, again, almost, I think, over 60 degrees cooler than what it was yesterday.
Yeah, that's a huge swing from 140 degrees plus as yesterday's peak temp. A little more humidity, partly cloudy. We had some rain showers threatening us in the morning, but a vastly different racetrack Parker Ives now on the pressure and pushing for second. What a move there in turn 10, and the 148 continues to roll. He lost obviously a little bit the last lap, closing in to Nico Katowski. He'll lose a little more here. Travis Pettit, that lead, well, he didn't lose it all. That was a burner lap out of Parker. Even with the pass made, Parker Ives a full 2/10 quicker than the early race leader in Travis Pettit. Nico Katowski now going to have to worry about Tristan Murphy, who looks to be the third quickest on the racetrack, as we get set to take a look here in a moment of how that first couple of laps, and really it all began on the start of the race, unfolded here. Katowski with a good getaway down to turn number 1 as they were all stacked up, and kind of had Ives there from the second row get shuffled wide into Nachawati. And then as he found a hole, he was offline there in the early section of the racetrack, so that's what probably got the tires dirty up and threw his rhythm off, but he's since found a really good flow. That was 3/10 he knocked off the lead last time.
Oh my, Parker Ives absolutely flying here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and there you see the gap at the line is just at about 0.6 of a second and closing rapidly here as we take a look back with Tristan Murphy and Liam Nachawati. This is the battle for fourth between the Paralyn driver and Parker Ives' teammate for the Ryan Perry Motorsports camp. There's been no changes in between these two as of yet. They've gone back and forth a couple laps consecutively, but nothing this lap, and you see it here. Parker Ives, you can see it on your screen, fast.
I think it might have happened, and it did just there. Turn 14, Nachawati pulls the trigger, move the rookie up to 4th. He's the highest of the new faces joining the OKNJ class. Parker Ives on his second year. It was a deep end of the pool for him to jump in. He still is one of the smallest drivers on the grid, and yet right now he's looking like a poised vet, closing in on Travis Pettit, who already has a win to his name today in KA Junior off the provisional results that we watched come to the line. Ives pulls within 1 car length. Flat flying right now is the 148 Ryan Perry Motorsport machine. Nico Katowski did put a good lap in the last lap. He wasn't as fast as Parker, but he was a good bit faster than Travis Pettit. And if there's anything we've learned over these lengthy mains here, a lot can change over the course of the session. And for Travis Pettit and his dad deciding to maybe opt for a really aggressive look at the long run, sacrifice a bit of the start of the race, knowing they're going to start up front, might be why we're not yet seeing a whole lot of speed out of that Cosmic in the lead. But if he doesn't find something soon, Parker Ives is going to be looking to go past him. He was all over him there in 10 and 11.
And again, nothing in turn 14, and that's another question, something to keep in mind, right? Parker Ives really fast early on in this race. Is it too fast maybe for the entirety of this main event? We're gonna find out, right, in about 8 minutes time, and a little more than that as this one continues to progress. But early on, that 148 has been just very, very good to get this one kicked off. And out of turn number 7, he's there, but again, just struggling to make that last little push, that last little lunge to go for the lead of the race.
He's got to time his runs here. He looks like he's got speed in a lot of different areas than Travis does, especially like right here, and the line being a little bit different too. But now he'll pull the trigger from way back. Parker Ives takes over at the end of turn 14. A huge move to take command now at the end of lap number 13. Here at the halfway mark of this 17 minutes plus 2 lap main. Like you said, it's a long way to go. You worry a little bit seeing someone this good this early, but we're at the same point, you know, right at the midway, and his speed is not slowing down whatsoever. They have found something at the Ryan Perry Motorsport camp, specifically with Parker Ives here, because he is on a tear. You can see the gap opening to Pettit as he sends it deep there, using a wider arc there through 10 and 11. Gives him a huge run into the S's. Wheeling that thing to the front. It'll be the first full lap with him out ahead of the field. What do the lap times look like behind him? It's a new personal best for Parker, 40.47. Travis Pettit only to a 40.76. Katowski no better, a 40.77 to his name. This could be a runaway if this pace can somehow maintain. Set in the fast lap of the race here at the midway point. Parker Ives, a rocket ship in OKN Junior. Beyond him, Maxwell Macha has been buried in the pack for a lot of it. As we've kept our focus up front, he's since gone past his teammate for 4th on the red and white Paralyn, Liam Nachawati, the early driver that was fighting for the race lead. with Nico Katowski and Travis Pettit. So Maxwell Macha on the circuit now with command of fourth. What kind of laps can he put together as we watch Katowski try to close that margin to Pettit? And I don't think that time was really a major improvement for Maxwell whatsoever. 6.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. He loses a little bit to Parker. He didn't really gain much at all towards Travis.
Yeah, Maxwell, again, the pace that we saw yesterday, just not really kind of maybe where we saw in comparison to everybody else, and now he sits in the 4th spot, just able to keep his teammate Liam Nachawati at bay at the moment, who's also, must be said, has lost a good bit of time. The same for Tristan Murphy as this race has progressed. Murphy's down now to 6th, and I think might even fall under fire here to Marco Salmon in a little bit, as you see that gap now just closing in 2 car lengths in between the BJRLN Kart and the Ryan Perry Motorsports Tony Kart, as they work their way out of turn number 4 and into 5 and 6.
Tristan Murphy now more than 5 seconds back. He's going to be under pressure here in a moment. Marco Salmon, of course, closing for that 5th spot. They have pulled well away. Cameron Johnson at the end of the opening lap was all the way at the rear. He's gotten by a handful into the 8th spot there on the Nash Motorsports machine. Getting past Grayson Walcott a lap before. Then it's Vitor Saperco and Perriman. But even in gaps out here, last year at this event, it was a phenomenal drive by John Antonino Jr. to be able to charge through the field from 8th early on to the lead. The provisional win, lost it on a pushback bumper that partly deployed on the outlap, a heartbreaker for him. He rebounded with an incredible win that was even more insane at the very end in Newcastle for round 2. He's since moved up. He'll be lining up on the grid for the OKN Stars class, clearing a path for a new driver to stand on top of the box here at the Queen City Gambit, and it very well could be a North Carolina-born second-generation racer. His father, Greg, of course, known to most as a NASCAR Cup Series crew chief, long-time crew chief with Hendrick Motorsports. Now he's got himself in a great program, headlining their Xfinity car, and a handful of other times he gets pulled away from the go-kart track. But every time you talk to him, he's about as laid-back of a dad as you will find here. He enjoys spending all his time racing with his son. And for Parker Ives, after what was certainly a character development level rookie season last year, jumping up to junior with sparks of speed and certainly a lot of promise. A performance like this probably wasn't even predicted by himself or his family yet this weekend. And here we are, 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go, and the lead is continuing to increase on the rest of the field. This is the fastest go-kart on the track. It has been the fastest go-kart since we got to about lap 4, Caleb, and he is just hitting his marks. Very reminiscent of when he won here a couple of years ago in the cadet ranks.
And I look back to last year, right? He was just a little undersized, made his debut in K Junior out here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and now finally growing into this class. You're seeing it. You saw it come to life last weekend at Trackhouse Motorplex, and one of the biggest things that I saw out of Parker was when it was all said and done, when the cameras were down and when everything was off, and he was just, tossing a ball around. At the end of the day, you could see, and asking him, he was a little bit deflated about how the weekend had gone. He's like, man, I just wanted to be there. I wanted to get my first win, even my first podium, and it was a DNF when it was all said and done. But this weekend, what a way to claw back here. Again, still a long way from over. Anything can happen in 3 minutes, but he is doing a great job to hold back 2 of the best, it must be said, in the nation up to this point in 2026 in Travis Pettit and Nico Katowski.
Isn't that right? I mean, you could take this frame of just those two battling for second, and you could easily show it to someone after what they witnessed yesterday, and they would guess they were battling for the lead, but they're 2 seconds away. Meanwhile, back from them, Marco Salmon and Tristan Murphy around each other. Salmon has been closing in, clawing his way. There he goes, inside, move him to 6th. Marco Salmon rolling forward. A downbeat Saturday here. Not minimal laps, probably the least amount of laps turned of any driver of the 200, near 250 in attendance at the Queen City Gambit, with the mechanical woes that plagued the BJR machine yesterday. And so having to start from the tail end of the field, beginning to get through that opening lap and then start rolling. Speed looks good for Marco Salmon. Last time by, he was able to get down to a 41.2. That was a little better, or 41.4, battling with Murphy. They aren't quite as fast as the cars in front, but they're not far off either. only a couple of tenths their best compared to the majority. It's just Parker Ives is somehow a full tenth and a half faster than everybody's best lap. Last time by, a couple laps ago, even better, to a 40.389. Comparing the best laps, Caleb, that's 2.5 tenths faster than what anybody else has basically put down.
Yeah, his fall off has also been just gradually less than everybody else in this field here, Xander.
Let's go down to Cameron Reed. She's speaking with a kid who stunned us all in OKN Junior a year ago, lining up for his OKN Stars debut as we keep our eye on the fight for second. Cameron.
Yeah, on grid with John Antonino here. Super quick here last year, now making the big jump up to OKN Stars. We haven't really talked too much this weekend, but starting on the second row, catch us up to speed.
Yeah, I know I can win. I just need to put my head down and focus. Really just work on being able to maintain the tires while keeping a good pace. So if I can do that, and all the boxes are checks.
You've been pretty close throughout the weekend, maybe just missing a little bit. How are you feeling going into the main?
Feeling pretty good. We were good in warm up this morning, so yeah, I'm excited.
Well, there you guys have it. John Antonino feeling confident.
Thank you, Cameron. Good to hear there from John Antonino. We talked about 2026 being a year, a new opportunity for a lot of new faces and a lot of young drivers. It's an opportunity for Antonino and for his teammate alike, Max Christia. And this weekend has really been an opportunity for the 148 and Parker Ives, who is putting on an absolute clinic here on Sunday. 2.5 seconds clear as he's rounding out turn number 11, down the hill up to turn number 14. Time is about to expire, just about 5 seconds to go. But the battle for second continues here with Travis Pettit and Nico Katowski for the runner-up spot, for the second spot. And now officially 3 laps to go here, Xander.
It was just going to be up or down whether or not they were going to make it to the line with 2 laps to go. Indeed, 2 to go for Parker Ives. They were right on the limit there of whether or not the timer was going to expire before or after. So that's 1 less lap for Nico Katowski to try and time the run and battle here with Travis Pettit, but he may not need it. He's looking, and Pettit throws the block, and there's contact, and they're off! Both of them! And around goes Pettit. Katowski continues, but Maxwell Macho will move up to second. Huge implications at the end of this OKNJ main. Liam Nachawati, another rookie, like Antonino and OKN Stars, but a rookie here in OKN Junior. Now into third, provisional podium on the final lap.
And the 148 of Parker Ives is working his way out of turn number 10. Last weekend, he was in the fence, out of the race. This weekend looks like it's going to be redemption.
You mentioned it, Caleb. He had never even stood on the podium before. And at home, Parker Ives gets career win number 1 in OKN Junior. The winner from the Queen City Gambit, Maxwell Macha. A surprise second. Liam Nachawati into third as Travis Pettit and Nico Katowski, after an entire weekend of battling cleanly between each other, they collide, come into the white flag, and it ends with Katowski provisionally 4th, and brutal right there. Travis Pettit getting a head full of the bumper and gives a sign of thumbs up there. Understandably frustrated, 17 minutes and working the final lap. But Parker Ives and Ryan Perry Motorsports standing tall here on Sunday afternoon. A near 5-second margin of victory. He made almost every single pass up the board from that first lap. And you never forget your first. Parker Ives is now a junior national race winner here at the Queen City Gambit.
Parker, we'll catch up with you here. What a drive. Where did that pace come from?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Well, we've just been working so hard to get this thing on the top step, and I'm just lost for words, so we did it.
Well, that is so awesome. You had a great drive through the field. Kind of talk about those first early laps where you were a little further back. Did you know you had the speed?
I mean, I knew we had pace, but I didn't know we had this kind of pace. I just tried to stay composed. I know I could work my way back, 17 minutes plus 2 laps. It's pretty long, so I just kept stuck in, and we just kept going.
Well, congratulations. You are a winner in OKN Junior.
Thank you.
And you see what it means to Parker Ives as well. This kid was heartbroken last weekend where he just couldn't close out the main event. And this weekend, what a way to come back. What a way to keep your head down after, again, bad luck at the start, got shuffled back, worked his way through, and came across the line as a winner. What a drive.
You can see the OKN Stars are beginning to form up, and now we get a quick look here at the OKN Junior standings coming off of that main event. Parker Ives with a massive points haul will lead the championship heading into round number 2, even after flying under the radar in both of the Saturday motos. Nico Katowski would provisionally be in second in the point standings pre-drop rounds, of course, with our first round underway. Liam Nachawati off the back of that third place result in a first career podium would join those two towards the top of the leaderboard. But OKN Stars getting ready to go green means more main events are headed our way here from Charlotte. And Parker Ives and company can celebrate now and enjoy 2 back-to-back action-packed mains to come. OKN Stars, Pro Stars afterwards. We'll be right back.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Well, you can see the OKN Stars drivers are getting ready to go green here on the racetrack, lining up on the grid. We'll bring you some shots of them and some shots of what happened, of how they will line up in this formation here for the main event. Max Christia, a rookie on the front row, joining a perennial front runner in 2 years in a row on the championship podium, Brazil's Diego Ramos. Let's take a look back here, Caleb, at how we got to this point.
Look, Moto 1, it was all defined by the start of this race. Paulie Massimino, Diego Ramos, contact at the start that also affected Davin Roberts. It was a little bit of collateral damage from that incident with those two. And again, more drivers with a little bit of bad luck, and the stories emerged from it, right? The rookies, the youngsters, Eric Doan, Max Christia, and a couple more just having to recover after, again, or being in the limelight of this race. And then incidents like this, Blake Nash, he had a scary one to get this one kicked off. Him and Diego Ramos, the number 1 plate, the number 3 plate, with one driver into the back. They're in the tires. But this right here, Blake Nash, Diego Ramos, we saw it a little bit last year. We see it this year. And this little bit of contact allowed John Antonino to catch them by surprise. It was Christia, and then to the line, Blake Nash crossed backwards to close it out.
And that was just moto number 1. They re-racked him again and went back after it for moto number 2. Paulie Massimino with the lead down to turn number 1 alongside Diego Ramos. Clean run through the first corner this time for them, and that allowed us to see these two who qualified up front to go at it, but only for a moment. Max Christia once again, this time with the leaders, the top qualifiers in front of him, taking the fight to him. We once again had 1 or 2 retirements. It was Roman Pazer earlier, and one of the Marinellos Theo Corelli going out in this one. But up front, Massimino, Ramos duking it out, and further back, Marin Kremers, Davin Roberts going after each other, and John Antonino and Max Christia, the teammates, and another rookie with them, Eric Doan, having a phenomenal charge through the field. Ramos was able to score the win over Massimino, but it was Doan in third to make up for a small penalty in Moto number 1. That still put him in a pretty good spot, not the best spot and not the best spot yet for the number 1 plate. That is held by none other than PSL Karting's leading single-speed driver, Diego Ramos. Let's give them the command here to fire engines. It's about that time for the OKN Stars to take to the racetrack, and time for us as well to run you through the full lineup and how they will be for today. Of course, those two motos had a mixed bag, which means it's mixed things up a little bit in terms of how they'll get going as they all fire up and off the line. We take a look, of course, with Ramos and Max Christia on the front row. Beyond them, it'll be the likes of Eric Doan, John Antonino, and Blake Nash. Nash, like another 1 plate that's coming up here soon, having a roll from the third row. Paulie Massimino, former race winner, former champ on the outside of row number 3.
Go back to world champion Marin Kremers, the 94, making his debut here in OKN Stars. Starts back on row number 4 with Davin Roberts, one of the youngsters here, the number 5, starting 8th. Aiden Lorenko and Chase Gassiet-Lee, your top 10 starters, your top 5 rows.
Levi Sangera and Austin Olds on row 6. Victor Day, Alan Carr, and Remy Andriatos back on row number 7. Then it's Mason Kuhn, Roman Pizer, Aston Driggers, Wrigley Keys, and Theo Corelli. As they round the final turn, the 2026 OKN Stars season is green.
Oh, and Christia around the outside in turn number 2 to the lead of the race. And already movers side by side. Antonino's clear for third. And Paulie Massimino as well through the chicane gets himself clear for third. And it's all changing. Doan side by side into turn number 8. Antonino to the high side, everybody going sideways, and up front, Max Christia, the rookie, as quickly as he got shuffled back, or as quickly as he got to the lead, Ramos answered, and Christia held on, but everybody else just looking for a little bit of space. They're not going to find it anytime soon.
It did get a lot of spacing for the leaders with all this going on behind him. Lorenko nearly off the racetrack coming down at turn number 1 in this big gaggle. Horrific start for Buddy Antonino, and the 93 machine is almost all the way to the back of the leaderboard now as this first lap gets going. Now Lorenko tries to go by him, can't do it. Here comes Wrigley Keys. That'll give Roberts and Gassi at least some breathing room as the rest of the pack bears down on him, but it's Eric Doan leading the way over Diego Ramos as all this happens here on lap number 2 for about 7th onwards. Antonino versus Lorenko and company. And down into the last turn, Lorenko sends it on Antonino. And John will try to answer, but again, he'll bang tires with him as they fend and fight down to 1. Antonino holds.
And Sangera's sitting there as well, just looking for a way by, looking for a lane. He couldn't find it. He's 4th in line. And then back to Victor Day Alencar as well, who's right there. An update for the lead. It's still Max Christia to Diego Ramos, Paulie Massimino, Kremers to Eric Doan. That's your top 5. It hasn't changed just yet. But the battle at the edge of the top 10 just heating up is now for third. Paulie Massimino, Marin Kremers are fighting. Kremers looked to go into turn 10. Massimino held on to it around the outside to hold on to the spot. But they are closing in rapidly to the number 3 here of Diego Ramos.
They are. They're all over him, and it's been a very slow start for Ramos, which is wild to see considering how quickly Eric Doan looked to be off the start. Max Christie, on the other hand, even better than everyone. I mean, a huge lead now at 1.6 seconds in the early going. And Marin Kremers is ready to keep going as well on the Carbolus Maranello, but he overcooks it. And still has Massimino looking back to the inside. Paulie overdoes it himself in turn 10, and Marin gets past.
And you see Marin, just a little bit of frustration as him and Paulie continue to go back and forth. Here goes Nash, looking on the inside of a fellow Californian. He's gonna get it, turn 14. Blake Nash now, clear for 5th. Eric Doan back to 6th. But again, Marin and Paulie, and both of them on the same power plant here this weekend with their respective teams. Marin with the Maranello Carbolus team, and Paulie again with Brandon Jarsacrack Racing on the LN carts. And it just shows you right. A little bit of an upper hand here for Marion to start this one off. And we're still waiting. Could Paulie come into this one? Could he settle in? Could those tire pressures come and warm up, come to temperature as well as this one goes on? But Christia, a lot like what we saw maybe a little bit out of Parker Ives in the OKNJ class, he has started off rapidly and already pulling away 1.8, and I think maybe even climbing here in this one. We'll take a look at it, but it was 1.8 actually. Yeah, it was very fast out of Christia that last time around. So 40.497, fastest lap of the race. That now goes to John Antonino with a 40.158.
Marion Kremers hopping in the seat, ducking his head behind the wheel, trying to get further away from Massimino and further close to Diego Ramos. This weekend here, albeit a development weekend for the Carlos crew, to have him running is not exactly going to plan, but now he's going to get a big gap behind with the two West Coast cats going at it. Doan, Nash, back and forth, and Blake's going to get a big gap now at the end of this lap. And finally some space to focus, but he's lost valuable time to Paulie Massimino and Marion. And those two are still 2.5 seconds away from the early race leader, Max Christia, trying to make this one a dominant performance. He's been matched over the last couple of laps to a degree by Ramos, but last time by was a huge lap here for Max, so we'll continue to keep tabs on it all as they roll into turn number 14.
And here we go, here's another look further back. John Antonino, Davin Roberts. They've gone back and forth here just a little bit. Antonino back to 8th, Roberts back to 9th. At the end of that lap, you see the paddling, it's all throughout this field, and we talked about it this morning as well, myself and Kyle, of how well this track was going to race in OKN. We've seen it in years past, right, in between this field, but if one driver has an upper hand, you will see him run away like you're seeing out of Christia here. And we talk a lot about those opening laps as well. They are so important here in Charlotte in these higher speed categories.
It's vital to be able to keep your tires clean, I think, in those opening few laps, because if you're vulnerable at all, you're just going to end up having that problem compound by more drivers taking advantage of you and going past. And speaking of taking advantage of the start here, how about Chase Gasly on the Bennick? It's been a weekend to forget to this point. He's had probably more bad luck than I think anyone else in this division when you look at his rookie year last year, Caleb. At this event, he ended up in the tire pack down in turn number 1. Quaker City, mechanical issue in the first moto, then leading in moto 2, wrecks out of the lead. Slated to go back out on track, ends up on track. Ultimately, the rules said he wasn't allowed to be, so while he won the race, he ended up going to the back there again. And then so many other countless sessions where it was a struggle. He's finally getting a good run, it appears, and he's on the cusp of it now. The cusp of this main contingent behind Paulie Massimino and Marion Kremers, because Diego Ramos is long gone now from them all in second. And based on how tough it was for a lot of them to get by each other, I think this could just end up being a battle for third. Let's see how quickly Nash can try to make work of Kremers as they roll into the infield section. Into turn number 10, deep dive down the inside. Blake is by.
Yeah, so is Eric Doan there in turn number 10, able to get himself clear. Now further back, Antonino looking to go on Chase Gasly. He does. So John Antonino had been chasing Gasly down for a couple of laps. And the same for Chase, who was chasing down that front group of Kremers, of Doan, of Nash, of everybody else that was in front of him. And again, his forward momentum now turning into backwards momentum as Antonino was able to get by. And here's a look at Paulie. He's the next one on the cutoff, if you will. He sits in third, and this is really the battle at the edge of the podium places, as now Kremers, as you look back into turn number 10, a little lower than Antonino, but he doesn't try it. Gasly will, though. Turn 14, he's clear on the Bennick to Kremers, who continues to go backward in this main event.
Yeah, Marion Kremers just sliding down the leaderboard. Chase Gasly now ahead of him here as they work their way towards the halfway point of this 17 minutes plus 2 lap final.
And up front, the gaps are still just about the same time at about 9 minutes. And we're just about to reach the halfway point here as well, Xander. This one It's a marathon, like we talked about it, right? We talked about it in OKNJ, we're talking about it here as well with the OKN's long race. And anything can happen, as we've seen in years past. We look on here with the action on the racetrack. Blake Nash, #1, chasing down Paulie Massimino. And again, Nash, we talked about his weekend up to this point this morning. It really hadn't been the defense that he would have wanted. Moto 1, Moto 2 were really up and down and didn't make all too much noise. And now finally looking to put himself on the podium. But Eric Doan's just right there with him every step of the way. When Nash improves, Doan's improving as well. And after Nash passed Doan a couple laps ago, Eric just hasn't let off. He's been right there, still applying the pressure, letting him know he is still there. And he's showing so here on your screen.
If only he could have had a bit of a higher starting spot. Truthfully, by the end of the second lap, this could be Eric Doan marching with his PSL teammate well onto the podium. Instead, he's going to have to fight for it in the latter stages because John Antonino is tracking just as fast as him. They're both really hauling the mail towards the leaders of the race, and they're rolling right up to the back of Blake Nash now, with Paulie Massimino not very far away. Marin Kremers is making a good gap built up, as now Doan goes to the inside over Nash. Eric Doan is through.
And Eric Doan just feeling like he has a little bit more pace than Nash, as now Antonino, turn #1. Buddy able to get clear. And again, you saw he tried it. Exited turn 14, tried to get on the power a little bit earlier than Nash. Couldn't get the exit he would have wanted. But that kind of set him up perfectly, right? And it also tripped up Blake a little bit as they head into turn #1. So John could just get there, get on the inside, and make the move to go one spot higher. He sits at just about 5th. Doan's in 4th with Massimino, the driver, in 3rd. And then further up, Diego Ramos hasn't made too much inroads on Max Christia. A couple laps ago, he was about 2 laps quicker. Sorry, not 2 laps quicker, goodness. 2/10 quicker, my apologies, than Max Christia as he was chasing him down. But the gap still, it's quite big for Diego if he wants to close down to the rookie in the 39.
It's huge. It's a big gap here for Max Christia back to Diego Ramos. Now there is still obviously a lot of life left in the race. So if it's at 2/10 a lap, I could see them going long enough to be able to get there, but it's all going to come down to if Christia can find a little more, at least stay consistent, or if Ramos' speed is going to continue. The rookies collide. Antonino and Eric Doan get hooked tire to tire coming out of the last turn. And a good sign of sportsmanship there from the pair, saying, hey, sorry about that. Didn't mean to hurt our race that much, but they just lost a ton of spots.
Yeah, equally, neither of them wanted to pull out there, and again, just kind of collided there. They were able to get unstuck and gave each other a thumbs up. John let him by, and again, you see a little bit of frustration maybe there out of Eric, just knowing like, man, we could have been up there. We could have gotten ourselves closer to the podium places as they tried to chase down Paulie, who is currently in the 3rd spot. Just couldn't come together. It's just racing, right? Stuff like that happens all the time. Being able to keep a level head, a cool head, I think says more about the character of those 2 kids than anything else here, Xander.
It does. It's important, again, for all of them to be able to just put that incident back out of their minds and lock back in. And it's good to see, at least for the moment, that they're going to be able to get a good lap in and probably begin to pull back away from Davin Roberts, put the heat back on Chase Cassiat Lee. As we get down towards the latter stages, 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go for Chase. And the number 31 machine, he's probably not going to be able to get much higher than that when you look at the lap charts. He was only able to match the pace of the likes of Doan and Nash in the previous laps. And now as they roll to the front stretch, Max Christia over Diego Ramos. This group right here closest on the racetrack, Cassiat Lee. Back to the likes of Doan and Antonino. Antonino's closing in on Doan quicker than Doan is on Cassiat Lee, so he might have another chance to right the wrongs of it, see if he can get after him in a different way, or maybe a different corner to make that pass stick. While the leader continues along, Max Christia well out in front, tracking hopefully towards a major win for the rookie.
And he's trying, going to be a lot of pressure from behind as they are now crossing the start-finish straight, time at about 4.5 minutes. It's minutes continuing to expire here as this one goes on. And Cristia doing the best that he can to just keep it on the racetrack, keep it on the asphalt, and not give Diego Ramos not even a sliver of hope here in this one. There's hope, though, for Eric Doan with Chase Gassiet-Lee, who's sitting out of car length and closing up the hill to turn number 10. Eric Doan, is it here? It's not. Gassiet-Lee a lane lower. And you see the difference in the exits as well.
Yeah, he was trying to team up for a crossover. Now he's vulnerable in 14 and he covers. Antonino will cross him out of the corner, but I don't think he'll have momentum, and indeed he doesn't. He bogs down, goes back behind, now looks into one. Deep slide contact again. This time Doan ends up getting pushed off the side pod of John Antonino, and Buddy gets by. A bit of contact, but finally the 93 is through on the second attempt. And he can lock in George Gassiet-Lee here with 3 minutes plus 2 laps remaining.
And here's a look up front with Max Cristia and Diego Ramos. The gap sits at about a second and closing, and you see how hard Diego is pushing just up on the steering wheel, jumping in the seat, looking to get a little more out of it. And he said throughout a variety of different corners, he didn't feel like the rear of his PSO karting barrel art was just planted in comparison to a couple of other drivers. But again, he said everybody's struggling with the same thing. I just need to stay ahead of the game. I need to stay ahead of the 8-ball. But Cristia just caught him by surprise at the start, able to go around the outside in turn number 1 and into turn number 2 and get the lead of the race. He hasn't looked back since there, Xander.
He has not. He has simply been locked out in front here. This has been a great drive for Max Cristia, controlling the race, not overcooking his tires. And while Ramos is closing in visually, it's hard to say if he's going to be able to get there by the end, because I can't say you can really see a chink in the armor that is too evident there in the number 39. Ramos is going to really have to dig deep here. You can see him clipping the curbs a little bit into turn number 5 and 6, trying to find a little more speed. Cristia is just on rails at the moment, edge to edge of the racetrack. Full use of the limits here, with 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go, just trying to keep the hands smooth, keep the tires underneath him. Saw his dad there with a little hand signal at the time he went by turns 10 and 11. And now, Ramos. Here's an update. From 2 seconds, many laps to go, Diego pulls to within 1 second. 7/10. It is not over. When you think back to last year, Diego Ramos thought he had it in the bag, thought that he had the win. He got to celebrate on the front stretch, only to get handed a penalty post-race from race control for contact with Chase Gassiet-Lee. It would have been a storybook level day. Brazil sweeping the main events in the Pro Show between himself in OKN and in Pro Stars the Morgado, but you saw Ramos there hopping in the seat mid-corner. I wonder if that was out of frustration or if he can feel the kart closing in, because I don't think the gap came down as much that lap, did it? To the line, Ramos, not as much there that lap. He lost a little.
Yeah, and it's just at under a second here, 7/10. The number 3 has given it everything he's got, just pushing it. And again, after talking with him a little bit yesterday, he said right after working with the Katowski brothers throughout the years, he said, I didn't realize how much those 2 kids look up to me. And I just want to show them right that I'm out here to win races, and I want to be up at the front to kind of translate that over to them and their young careers. And this weekend, again, with that little bit of pressure, leading that operation, and as well the pressure of becoming a champion for the first time in 2026. How many times have we talked about it for Diego Ramos in 125cc? So close here at Stars for about 2 years running, back in 24, back in 25.
Oh, no. Paulie Massimino facing the wrong way at the entrance at turn number 1. And he didn't really look true to form. And so Paulie Massimino, from a surefire podium for the 2nd consecutive year, finds himself with a DNF that sidelines him in the opening main event of the season. Meanwhile, coming to 2 laps to go this time by, and a rookie is feeling the pressure as one of the most consistent, one of the most highly regarded drivers in North America, is bearing down on him. Max Cristia's gap, about a half second, plus or minus each lap back to Ramos. 2 laps to close this thing out.
And yesterday, Diego said he wasn't excited with how long this main event was going to be, and I bet today, and in these last 2 laps, he's wishing it was even longer. because he is closing, but it's not enough at the moment. He's going to run out of time with Max Christie if he doesn't find something extra here in comparison to that Kart Republic, the 39 of Max. He has a comfortable gap here as they come across the final corner. 1 lap to go for the rookie Christia.
Max Christia didn't get the best run through turn 1, got a good exit out of 2. Ramos giving it all she's got right now, trying to close the distance. I just don't think it'll be enough. He was out of shape in turn number 6, didn't get a good exit there. Max Christia of a stacked rookie class, arguably the strongest group we've seen yet this year in the batch of young guns that have moved up. And this kid, all those years, over the last 3 seasons especially of hard luck, Max Christia wins on debut.
What a drive out of Max Christia. That 39 did not put a foot wrong all race long. What a drive, what a way to get your first in senior, your first weekend of asking in 125cc, and you get it done. Max Christia, take a bow. What a way to make yourself known.
Diego Ramos will end in second. The one plate will begin the title defense after a wild weekend in third, and Paulie Massimino among many hoping for more on Sunday to end instead with disappointment and a DNF. But a new winner in OKN Stars, a first-time winner. Max Christia is victorious here in Charlotte.
Max able to get it done here in Charlotte. Getting a lot of congratulations there. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. 2 years ago at this track, I started 36th because I had an incident in the pre-final and I finished 6th. I had amazing pace. And this feels special because it's my second senior race ever in the U.S. And it just feels great for all these kids.
How are you going to take this momentum, take this confidence, and carry it on through the rest of the year?
What I did in this race is I got to the lead, so that's what I'm going to be trying to do later on, is every race just go to the lead and control the race. But this gave me a good boost.
Yeah, well, you definitely proved yourself this weekend. Congratulations, Max.
Thank you.
A first-time American winner in Max Christia here in the senior ranks. As mentioned, only his second American start. But with Max Christia on top of the board here in OKN Stars, Diego Ramos oh so close to being able to bring the pressure and the fight to him. As you mentioned, Caleb just ran a little low on laps there at the end of that main event.
Yeah, just not enough. And again, he's standing by with Cameron Reed. We'll hear from him.
Diego's so close there, just needed a few extra laps. Kind of talk me through that late run pace.
Yeah, I mean, we know that we are really strong in the long run, but we exactly, like, I don't know what happened in the beginning that wasn't like tire pressure, like something missing that after like 8 laps you start going, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is, like maybe extra 3 more laps, 2 more laps I was there, but I mean, now we need to go back and then see what we did wrong in the beginning so we can fix for the next one.
Yeah, Blake was able to win the championship last year without even showing up here, so a P2 is still a solid result. Who would you like to thank?
Of course, the whole team, PSL, Biro, Dominic, he's putting so much work in the engine, and definitely we improved from last year. But like we still need to figure out like what happened always in the beginning that we're missing that much, and then it's hard to come back. Like even congrats to him, he did a really good race, and then he was really consistent, and we just missed a little bit in the beginning.
Well, thank you, Diego.
Thank you.
Still a good points all for Diego Ramos, along with Blake Nash. They're right behind him. They'll join Max Christie on the provisional podium. One main event remains here. Pro Stars beginning to form up on the front straightaway. as the OKN Stars class heads for the scales and post-race tech inspection. Our final main event on the day, AJ Myers won at the last Stars event of 2025. He gets to start on the pole here for the first one in 2026. Trying to get the first win for himself and the Magic Crew and Pro Stars at this venue. And boy, has he been close over the years. But yesterday, Mr. Saturday indeed for AJ Myers when it settled on out. But let's take a look on back as now the Magic Man made it onto the front row. He qualified first, started right alongside Mateus Morgado, but that first hole shot went the way of the Velocity Sodi forcefully down to turn number 1.
And again, Mateus was all about setting the tone here in the first moto on their return here to Stars Championship Series racing action. Jay Irwin off-track excursion, couldn't quite get going here in this one, and then Myers able to respond there on Mateus Morgado, who already had that mechanical looming on him, and then Irwin able to make the move into turn 14. And right here, where that motor just let go after the airbox failure occurred for Mateus, and again, which unfortunately caused the engine to seize, and that gave the win to AJ Myers. But a late run surge for Adrian Rennerton as well, must be said. Second time around, whole shot went the way of AJ Myers, and a lot similar to Moto 1. Mateus was very quick to apply the pressure to go to the lead, and this time with much fresher tires was able to stay ahead. Adrian as well. We talked about him having an issue, a flat tire in Moto 2, but that wasn't until just about past the halfway point where Jay Irwin was able to get back to third, and this right here defined, I think, the story of the weekend. Jay Irwin destroyed front end, a full rebuild overnight, kept them here a little later than expected. AJ was able to recover, got through on teammate CJ Bowman, and towards the end, how about Vincenzo Saraceno? We've talked about this driver in his stint, where he was a champion all the way back in 2022 with TB Kart, and then with Maranello was all bad luck. With Croc Promotion, little bit of pace, sparks of brilliance, but this weekend was really a return back up to the front of this field as he gets ready to start on row number 1 alongside the man who passed him to close off Moto number 2 yesterday. But Mateus, we saw the pace out of him at the end of it. He's getting to roll off further back in this field, and he's been determined to get himself to the front, and he's been determined to keep the winning streak for Velocity Racing Sodi of what him and his teammate Adrian Rennerton have done to kick off both championships of the year.
Velocity Racing Sodi already the winningest chassis across all of the major shifter events in North America and abroad here in 2026. But to do that today, they'll have to get their way from the third row forward. It's Vincenzo Saraceno on the outside of row 1, AJ Myers on the inside as they roll off the grid.
You go back to a couple of others. Cooper Backlund, we talked about his pace. He's starting a little bit further back. Jay Irwin is buried in this pack as well. But again, your drivers here, Ashton Henkel, Sebastian Rist, Paulie Hart, Dominic Karai. But the Burrells, they've been fast 2 years in a row of PSO karting. Beryl Art has finished and taken the win here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jay Irwin back in 2024. Mateus Morgado last year in 2025. And this year, they have a good number, more than everybody else in this field, with a shot to do it. Jay Irwin is their main man, but he is buried in this packed in, and we talked about it. He's got a lot of work to do to get to the front.
It'll be a long 17 minutes plus 2 laps main event here in store for the New Zealander, but he has made quick work of the field in this event in the past. It's not out of the question that he couldn't charge his way through the pack and get there once again as we watch them warm the tires up and get set to get into the grid boxes. For the final main event here from Charlotte Motor Speedway, Pro Stars. Donuts for 1 at the end of these 17 minutes plus 2 laps. Vincenzo Saraceno hasn't started on the front row of a Pro Stars main event in years. A former champion alongside another former champ on road number 1. And for AJ Myers, yesterday the first day with a smile on his face in a long time. We'll see if he has one when this one gets to a close as the field gets set. We get the ball. The Stars official, Rusty Ferguson, taking us all the way to the back of the grid for the last row. And we look to Christian Marsh, Mr. Stars, along with Joe Janowski, to the lights. Pro Stars, round 1, the Queen City Gambit from Charlotte Motor Speedway is green. And it's a massive hole shot Vincenzo Saraceno instantly under fire. Myers back to the lead as they all scatter into turn number 5. Reddington and Morgado all over the 210 as AJ tries to get away.
What a start out of Mateus Morgado already up to 3rd, and he's going to go for it here. Turn number 8, Mateus Morgado wasting no time to put himself up to 2nd. Adrian Reddington now back to 4th. Where does he go? Is it turn number 10? Not yet, but as quickly as that, we talked about how long was it going to take for Mateus to take the charge up to AJ, and it's not all too long. Jay Irwin making moves here as well.
Jay Irwin already up and into the top 5 here, quickly going through the pack as behind him Cooper Becklin and Ashton Henkel go at it through turn number 1. Meanwhile, Morgado charging. He has already cut the gap in half down to Myers.
Here's Adrian Reddington still looking for a way by as one of them is out. That's David Carmody. Carmody in the 202 Carblos machine out of this race early. And look at Adrian Reddington, turn number 8, still can't find a way by on Vincenzo Saraceno. And now the battle for the lead, Xander, gonna heat up. It's the number 1 against the number 2 from 2025, and they're inverted on the racetrack right now.
Last year, Mateus Morgado and Adrian Reddington spent the entirety, it felt like, of a night fight main event, trailing AJ Myers. And the Magic Man was able to return to victory lane in a clean battle, but these two, it was aggressive in Moto 1. They haven't had the chance to go head-to-head since. And now as Myers looks back, Morgado is pressuring and AJ goes full defense here early in this main. Behind him, Saraceno, a good ways away, but starting to get some breathing room from Reddington. Although again, with AJ Myers covering, that'll back the leaders up and quickly make it a 5-car grouping all the way back to Irwin.
And again, that second group is going to close in here. Mateus Morgado, turn number 1, not there. AJ going to fade low, a lane lower than the Sodi. But again, he's feeling the pressure. He's looking over the shoulder, knows that Mateus is right there. And he heard him coming into turn number 8. That's in one of the biggest passing zones here in Shifter. Reddington has struggled. But Mateus, what do you have? A lap removed after your first attempt, and now Reddington gonna try it again. Not there on the brakes, and that's brought him right into Jay Irwin. The PSL karting barrel art is now on the rear bumper of the number 3 plate from 2025.
Yeah, he's gonna have a much harder run up through the top 5 than he did to get there. You've got 4 drivers that have all shown phenomenal speed through this week. Here out front, Myers to Morgado, to Saraceno and Reddington, then Irwin, and then a healthy gap to Henkel now beginning to grow. Myers protected a lap ago. He has since begun to open the throttle up. Long ways ahead here still. They'll be pushing towards the high 20s on the lap count here in this main event for Pro Stars. But AJ Myers, the early race leader here with a couple of car lengths to Morgado. And again, how about Vincenzo Saraceno pulling the gap back away from Adrian Reddington? It could be a lot of, oh wait, we got something going on. Jay Irwin all of a sudden just lost a ton of time to the race leaders. He is off the racetrack. Irwin is out. Jay Irwin beginning this year on a high with a good rebound from qualifying in the motos and a great performance last week. He will see no more than 4 laps in the main event for Pro Stars.
Wow, that's heartbreaking for Jay Irwin. Again, a 2nd place last week and a DNF this week. Just no luck for the kid out of New Zealand here over the last 2 weeks, really, or I should say even going back probably to Tucson, Arizona. Not the start of the year that Jay Irwin would have wanted to look to try and get his first American Shifter Championship. And again, we talked about Vincenzo. He's now leading the pack here for PSO Karting Barrel Art. He's in 3rd. Ashton Henkel's now up into the 5th spot. With Reddington in 3rd, still closing in, still looking for a way by. Not finding one. This is going to help, though. Saraceno dropped the tire on the exit of 7. Still aggressive, still elbows out, but he won't deny Adrian Reddington another time. Reddington finally able to get clear through for 3rd and looking to chase down Mateus Morgado.
So now Saraceno had a little look there into 14, nothing yet, and that has massively changed this entire race here, folks. You've got the front 4 in pairs of 2, and then a huge battle pack that is starting to really get after it here for 5th onwards. 2 great patches of action here. Dominic Karai mixing it up. The Marinellos a rookie in Paulie Hart and Sebastian Riss there going after it as he starts his second full year in Pro Stars action. Down the backstretch, all of them back of your top 10, as Irwin and Carmody are only retirements thus far. So these 5 here now separating a little bit. Myers and Morgado continuing to show the way, 3/10 apart. And Karai under pressure from Rist here is going to send it low into 14 and get up onto the curb in contact there.
What a move, and they're still going at it. Karai still ahead, and now side by side. Look at Hart looking for the inside. So again, the battle back for 8th, and then the battle for the lead opening up once again with 11 minutes to go. But a little switch there in between Hart and Rist. Paulie Hart now the driver up to 9th.
Morgado just kind of yo-yoing back and forth from AJ Myers, I think trying to ride at a good pace here. He doesn't want to get too close to him if he thinks AJ's still pushing forward as they round out of turns 14 and 15, because again, what they're looking at right now is just trying to be able to make it all the way to the end of the race here. Meanwhile, Cooper Becklin, Ashton Henkel, CJ Bowman, right there, 5th through 7th on the racetrack. A good look at them as the leaders continue to stay at about 3 or 4 car lengths apiece. They pulled significantly away from Adrian Renardin as well. Currently holding station quietly there in the 3rd spot, about 2 seconds away.
When you talk about these two drivers, and Mateus Morgado and AJ Myers, they have been, again, we've seen it year in, year out, where Mateus has just been that little bit better on the long run. We saw it in Tucson, we saw it last year here in Charlotte as well, and throughout, you know, a variety of different years, even back to 2024, when Mateus started at the SCUSA Pro Tour, he showed an upper hand in long run pace, being able to nurse the tires. AJ maybe wasn't as strong or just didn't have it throughout the last half, but he's showing, again, he went out there and it almost looked like AJ Myers was on eggshells, and now finally looks like he's planted through the corners, able to get out, able to stay ahead of Mateus. So those two, they're going to go back and forth here. It's going to be give and take throughout this race. What can you find in these corners? How quickly you can get out, and if you can stay planted enough to get out of the corners, like I said. Nonetheless, though, further back, Cooper Becklin, CJ Bowman, Ashton Henkel, they work their way through, and that's the battle for 5th.
All the while here, tracking deeper into this main. AJ Myers felt like it was probably a gorilla, not even just a monkey on his back throughout 2025 of a lot of races like this one, where he would be a front runner early, and late in the main event, the speed would begin to fade. Charlotte, no different. Fast here throughout the motos, couldn't bring it home. It was all about the driver behind him. And now Mateus Morgado. Different colors, different team, different home. And once again, he feels like he's got himself the best package out there, and he is keeping it right within arm's reach of AJ Myers. And in a lap or two, if he's able to turn it up a little more than the rate that he's riding at right now, he can get close enough to pounce. But for the moment, he is just staying at that 3 to 4 car length buffer. He is closing a little at this stage in the race compared to earlier, but they're still pacing themselves at this point in the final. They're not necessarily trying to throw everything they have at each other quite yet, because they want to make sure they're going to have a chance later on.
And they're so good as well, as, you know, driving back another 5%, just leaving a little bit more out there and saving a little bit of tire for the end of this race. And you're seeing it at the moment, right? This is almost the conservation period for both of these drivers. And then the back half of the race. Well, we are at the back half of the race, I should say. We're past the halfway point here. But towards the end, last 5 minutes, if you will, last 3 minutes even, you start to turn it up. You start to push a little deeper. You start to go a little wider. You start to slide out the rear maybe a little bit more, looking for that last little bit. And we're seeing that out of Mateus right now, just starting to pick it up, starting to close down that gap here once again. It only sits at a car length, then it closes, maybe even a little more than that, then it opens back up to 2 car lengths. But it's been back and forth for the majority of this race. Now for Mateus Morgado, who's been in second for this race, he's studied AJ. He's watched him closely, and now it's a matter of time of when he wants to make a move, because he's kept them within striking distance.
And now AJ knows that he's feeling the pressure, covering the inside again. Reneden is still a good ways back in third. Across the line, Morgado sends it down the inside into turn number 1. New leader, the one plate gets the lead away at the halfway mark, and Myers slides back to 2 car lengths away. Mateus was slowly, as you mentioned, Caleb, bringing that car length gap from 3 to 2 to 1, and now he's going to try to release the throttle a little bit and open up the margin to then pace himself again to the end. And AJ Myers, a wake-up call here at this point in the race. He's got to quickly adjust, get used to running behind someone again, and equally be able to then counter the speed that Morgado is beginning to show, or he is once again going to find himself dominating the early half of the opening round of the season and watching this year in orange, last year in red, Mateus Morgado drive away and into the sunset here at the Queen City Gambit.
And it doesn't matter what you put Mateus Morgado in. He's going to be fast. He's going to be up at the front, and he's going to be fighting for race wins like you're seeing now. Mateus still pushing. But again, if you're AJ Myers, if you weren't, in conservation mode, if you weren't, saving a little bit, you got to be thinking, right, what else can you do? Where else can you push? Where do you need to improve? Or if that package, if that Sony-powered Velocity Racing Sodi is just that much better than you are at this stage of the race. But again, the first chance AJ gets to be there within a car length, to have a send, you've got to take it, because you're seeing the pace, one, not only that they've had all year long, you saw it last weekend, you saw it back in Tucson, and you're seeing it in front of your eyes right now. You have to go. The first chance that you get, the first opportunity that presents itself, you need to take it.
Yeah, you need to hope at this point for one mistake from Mateus Morgado and then find a way to be able to get back around to just keep him behind you. I mean, look at how low they are into turn 14 with the wind gusts, of course, that have been plaguing us all day long. I'm sure it's dirtying up the inside part of the racetrack that's getting used a little less, and you can see really over the course of a lap where Myers seems a little stronger compared to Morgado. Mateus certainly better here, it appears, in these chicanes in the first sector leading onto the backstretch. I think AJ is a little bit better in the S's coming out of turn number 11, and he's able to close back up by the end of the lap. But this lap here, it's starting to really go in the right direction for the Velocity Racing Sodi. I mean, this would be the 3rd win of the year for Mateus Morgado. A bit of an offbeat Sunday at the test weekend, if you will, for him. His first race weekend of the year in the States with his crew at the Winter Series, but he still won the day before. And then, of course, he goes to Tucson. He struggles a bit on Saturday. Doesn't look exceptional. Didn't even seem like he was feeling confident going into Sunday, and then he put 5 seconds on the shifter field there. And in contrast, AJ Myers, nothing but hard luck here to start the year. He saw as Adrian Reneden worked his way past him in that Arizona main event to go by, to drive his way up to second for a Velocity 1-2. Reneden doesn't seem like he has what he needs to get to AJ this time. But here in Charlotte, 6/10 now the gap, and growing for the race leader. A sight all too familiar at this point for AJ Myers. He thought he had a good shot at this one, but different conditions today, Caleb. We talked about it, nearly a 60-degree swing in the surface temperature from a day ago.
Yeah, this is unheard of. A team like this, Velocity Racing Sodi winning all 3, potentially. Again, this one far from over, but it's showing us, right? It's maybe showing a little bit of for us, we're starting to see it happen before our eyes. We're starting to see the clinic that Mateus Morgado is putting on. But if this one sticks, this is one of the most dominant starts, I think, that I have seen over my last couple of years of covering the sport, of watching a team like this just break through in a matter of a couple of years, right? It was last year towards the end of it, and now finally getting those results, getting those wins under Velocity Racing Sodi with 2 drivers like this. And for Adrian Reneden, again, to put himself back on the podium, this would be a great result for him after last year leading the operation, and he did struggle a little bit to get past Vincenzo Saracino. That was the only thing that kind of didn't, help him out or benefit him out at all in this race. But a double podium for the team, that's exactly what you want to see if you're, the team back just, on the other side of the technical inspection area and in the hauler. You want to see your guys going out there and doubling up.
2 minutes plus 2 laps to go. The lap before this, you saw that gap get down to half a second from Myers up to Morgado, now back up to 7/10. Reddit here, a winner last week, on track for a good points haul today here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Vincenzo Saracino, great early race pace, hanging with the top 3. Got a podium last year at Quaker City through all the madness when Morgado and Myers were out on lap 1, turn 1, and Reddit got his 2nd win of the year. It doesn't look like it'll be in the cards for Adrian to join his teammate in another 1-2, or to challenge and get his 3rd career Stars victory in only his 4th career Stars Championship Series start. That's an incredible stat line, by the way. Adrian Reddit, barring a mechanical DNF, has only finished outside of the main event top 10 in 2 occasions over every U.S. start that are outside of the top 2 in 2 occasions over his very short time period here. In the top 10 in Las Vegas, in the top 10 in Cincinnati for the Pro Tour, in the hunt and winning, of course, in his opening 2 starts in the Stars Championship Series. A winner last week and 2nd in Arizona. Cameron Reed. On the flip side, though, the hard luck here at Charlotte. It was a failure in one of the motos last year for Jay Irwin, or 2 years ago for Jay Irwin. What happened to him here today?
Yeah, extremely unfortunate for Jay Irwin, but due to an exhaust failure, he ends up in the scale line a little bit earlier than he would have liked.
Quite a bit earlier. Only 4 laps for Jay Irwin. And a good update there from Cameron. We saw the mechanical woes that took Mateus Morgado out of moto number 1. He is starting to pull further and further away from the Magic Man now. A couple hundredths padded to the gap last time by. It's a game of inches here. AJ has kept the number 1 plate honest. Any mistake, any miscue, any failure at this point here will put it back in his hands. But they're headed to the 2-lap to go signal this time, and it is oh so close for AJ Myers. This is still, on paper, a big upswing in momentum. And I think had it not been for how good they were yesterday, Caleb, if you were to tell AJ Myers after the engine failure that sidelined him in Arizona, after the crash last week in KA Senior to start the weekend of the US Pro Kart Series and ended still with a rough go, he would happily have said, yeah, a podium's good. But you take today or yesterday into account, and this one's gonna sting.
Yeah, it'll sting a little bit, but again, it's been a different AJ Myers this weekend. Finally seeing a smile on his face, and being back with Andrew Bajoso as well this week, and the family back together, if you will, has been, I think, good to AJ and good for that operation. But this weekend, I just don't think it's going to be enough to deny Mateus Morgado. Look, last lap, white flag in the air. Last year for Mateus, it was a white and red car that he was in. This year, it's a black and orange one. And it doesn't matter what he drove. This one, he drove flawlessly to get up to the front.
As he heads down the backstretch for the final time, Velocity Racing Sodi won the opener at the SCUSA Pro Tour. Last week, they won the opener at the US Pro Kart Series. And for Mateus Morgado, sporting the number 1 plate once again, out of the last turn, he'll make it 3 in a row. Mateus Morgado goes back-to-back years at the Queen City Gambit. He wins round 1 of the 2026 season for the Stars Championship Series. AJ Myers ran him for all he was worth for the entire 28 laps, but he just didn't have that last bit to challenge. And Adrian Reddit will score 2 black and orange machines on the podium here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Vincenzo Saracino kicks off his year with a 4th. CJ Bowman concludes the top 5 with a respectable performance to put 2 Magics, the only 2 on the grid, in the top 5 of the field. But Mateus Morgado, what more can you say? 3 out of his 4 American starts here on the national scene in 2026 have him standing on the top step of the podium. And 2 years in a row, he secures the crown at the Queen City Gambit, and he's headed around for a nice and easy cool down lap at this point before he takes part in the tradition, on Sundays at the Stars Championship Series, we bring donuts to the grid to kick off the morning. And at the end of the afternoon, when the Pro Stars Final comes to a close, we do donuts. And Matheus Morgado can burn them down for the second consecutive year.
There you guys have it for Matheus Morgado. 2 years in a row. It was a Burrell last year. It's a Sodi Kart this year. It doesn't matter what you drive. You find it and you put it on the top step of the podium. Tell me about this win here, Matheus.
You know, first of all, I need to thank God for all the blessings He has been doing in my life. It's an honor to be here driving, racing with another team this year, but still managing to get the victory. Such a hard week. Congrats to AJ as well. Such a tough driver to race with, and he was very fast on such a long race. So, yeah, really thankful to all Velocity team, Sunny Competition Engines. The package is this, man. If you wanna win races, be at the top, you gotta be on a Sodi and a Sunny engine.
Tell me about the start of this year. You guys win in Tucson. Adrian wins last weekend at Trackhouse Motorplex, and you win here in Charlotte. Tell me about the momentum you guys have been building in Velocity.
It's amazing. It's what I just said. We are winning worldwide. Everywhere we go, we are in the top step, so that's great. That's what the team wants, and it's grateful to be part of this family. And I say again, to have Adrian as my teammate is very good for the development of our material during the week.
I see you got the Brazil shirt on. Send a message to your family back home.
Yeah, I have a long message because, you know, my family all the time watching me from far, not doing their things and watching me race is so great to have a family like mine, all my friends. So a big hug to all of them, and tomorrow I'm home.
There you go, Matheus. Enjoy it. Hope you feel better in the next coming weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There you guys have it from Matheus Morgado, winner here at the Stars Championship Series on Sunday. Cameron.
Fresh out of scales with AJ. You had great pace in there in the early laps, and it looked like it kind of faded away there towards the end. Kind of talk me through it.
No, I don't think the car faded at all. I think we actually had great long run pace, and just Matheus just had that little bit more. I made more mistakes than him, and yeah, I lost. That's just plain and simple. I got to do better. The team put together a great package, and I'm really proud of what we had. So thanks to them, and we'll do better.
Yeah, still got to be proud of the result, right? Like coming off one of the biggest races of the year so far, kind of kicking off our national calendar to come home with a P2. Are you happy with that? Are you satisfied?
I'm definitely not satisfied. Matheus got the P2 way too quick for me there. Hopefully, I was hoping he would get a little bottle up there, but he didn't. And yeah, definitely disappointed, but happy with the long run pace we did have, and just need a little bit more.
There you guys have it. Build on it.
Thank you.
AJ Myers, as mentioned there, a very humble Magic Man, and in the championship standings, which we'll get to, of course, he still exits the weekend with a good haul, and so does that man, Adrian Rennerden. On to you, Cameron.
Adrian, solid result there after having an unfortunate Moto2 with the flat tire. Kind of talk me through what it took to get back up through the field and into that P3 spot.
Yeah, sure. The puncture in the heat 2 compromised to have the pole position for this final. Anyway, I think we miss a bit of pace compared to Matheus and AJ this week. So I'm happy because it's a long championship, so P3 is still good result, but we need to find a little bit of speed to catch them, and it will be okay.
Well, there you guys have it. Congratulations, Adrian.
Thank you.
Well, there's your top three for the Pro Stars main event, and here's how the field stacks up leaving Charlotte Motor Speedway. Matheus Morgado will have the lion's share of the points from the main event, and even with an issue in Moto 1, he escapes the round 1 of 4 in the season with an 8-point lead over AJ Myers. Vincenzo Saracino, a consistent performance throughout all 3 sessions on the weekend. puts him third ahead of the three-plate of Adrian Reneden, CJ Bowman, Sebastian Rist, Ashton Henkel, Dominic Karai, Paulie Harton. What a heartbreaker at the bottom there for Jay Irwin to exit with a DNF here and all the way down 10th in points after round one.
You got to think, right, what does that 220 have to do to finally catch some luck, wherever he goes? And yeah, just unfortunate for Jay to kind of kick off the Stars Championship Series. But the biggest thing, Mateus Morgado, look, you heard it in his voice during the interview, not feeling well. But going out there, putting himself up at the front, and coming away with it. This is the best way to start things off, right? The number one, the number two, they're back to where they left off. The number three is down in fourth, but also impressive run and a good points haul weekend out of Vincenzo Saraceno in the mix headed into round two.
That's right, with all the mixed results from the motos and that main event mix-up as well. It's a close battle. It came down to the last race of the year last year in the main event for round four. It looks like it may very well do the same this year again. It concludes the on-track coverage here from Charlotte Motor Speedway, America's home for racing for the Stars Championship Series. It has christened the new season for the last 3 years, and we have enjoyed bringing you the coverage all weekend long here for the 2026 edition of the Queen City Gambit. A beautiful afternoon. It has turned out to be an ugly morning. Kicked things off here for sure with high winds, a threat of rain, and just about any other kind of weather curveball you could think of. It certainly changed the dynamic of the day, but nonetheless here, a beautiful afternoon that kicked off the morning with chaos. The 2026 Stars Championship Series season officially underway. One round in the books. Cameron Reed, Caleb Vieska, of course, myself, Xander Clements, the Stars Championship Series officials who have weathered the conditions all week long to make it happen. Charlotte Motor Speedway, of course, for playing host for two majors on the karting season once again and helping kick off the Stars Championship Series. And I cannot go without saying a huge thank you to our phenomenal Kart Chaser production and camera operations team. They have worked their tails off over this busy stretch of the year. We talked about it earlier. There'll be more action coming your way here next weekend. There's more action still live with us as well on the West Coast with the Champions of the Future too. But for the Stars Championship Series presented by Mazda Motorsports, on-track action all wrapped up here from Concord, North Carolina. And we'll see you next time as we bring you the action once again with King of the Castle at the end of May. And for us, we'll racing every single weekend. That'll continue next week too. Goodbye for now. All right, time for podium ceremonies here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Kicking things off with KA Masters. Third place today, Byron Daly. Second place, as Byron makes his way up to the podium. Second place in K Masters, Anthony Stifler. And your main event winner in K Masters, John Bonanno. And give it up for your K Master top 3. Next up, Micro Swift. Third place in today's Micro Swift main event, Trey Sanders. Second place in today's Micro Swift main event, Bo Wyatt. And on the last lap, on the last corner, your Micro Swift winner, Tristan Francisco. Yeah, get in nice and close here, boys. Raise the trophies up high above your heads. Give it up for your Micro Swift podium. All right, next up, our Pro Supermasters podium. Third place in Supermasters, Morn Van Tark. Second place in Pro Supermasters, tracking Morn down, getting by at the very end, P2 Owsley Cheek. And your main event winner in Pro Supermasters, John Crow. All right, fellas, raise the trophies up nice. Back up here by the backdrop. We'll get our nice photo up. Give it up for your Pro Supermasters podium. Third place in KZ Masters overall. Third place on the track too, Hernando Sanchez. P2 today in Pro Masters, Kevin LaCroix. And your main event winner in Masters, a part of a PSL 1-2, Jordan Musser. Well, unfortunately, we don't have our top 2 here, but we do have our third place here. Hernando, thank you very much. We'll continue to move forward. K Jr. will be our next up. Third place today in the K Jr. main event, Callan Berghofer. Second place today in your K Junior Final, Nico Katowski. And your main event winner in K Junior, Travis Pettit. Get a little closer together here, boys. We'll move you guys a little bit closer. Callan, go ahead and move on over. Nico, a little tighter. Congratulations, fellas. A big K junior field. A great race as well. Raise the trophies up. Give it up for your K junior top 3. Next up, sold out. Had a wait list at that. 40 deep in Swift Stars. Third place in your Swift Stars main event, Brody Stoffel. Wicked fast to come back from having to start deep after qualifying. P2 today, Mason Brody. And 2 Mini Swift national wins in a row for this young man, Dutch Westbrook. All right, boys, once again, we'll get you guys a little closer together. Mason, we'll have you move over just a little bit. Get that nice helmet right in front of you, too. Stand behind your helmet, Mason. We'll get you just like the rest. Pose it there nice. Raise up the trophies. Give it up for your Swift Stars podium. Next up, KA Stars. Move on to third place today in the KA Stars main event. Number 971, Adam Brickley. Second place today, welcome back, and he's going back with some hardware, Hayden Jones. And your main event winner in KA Stars, Alan Isambard. There, we'll center all you boys. Move over a little bit, Adam. There we go. Perfect. Give it up for your KA Stars podium. All right, next up, OKN Junior. Great way to drive through the field to get onto the podium here on Sunday. Third place, Marco Samet. Second place here, highest of the rookies in OKN Junior, Liam Nachawati. And give it up for a first-time OKN Junior and Junior National Race winner, Parker Ives. Congratulations, boys. Raise those trophies nice and high. Give it up for your OKN Junior podium. Next up will be OKN Stars. Third place today in OKN Stars' main event, the number 1 plate, Blake Nash. P2 today in the OKN Stars main event, the number 3, Diego Ramos. And it's another first-time winner in his OKN Stars debut, Max Christia. And finally, in Pro Stars, a very familiar podium. Once again, on the box, third place today in Pro Stars, Adrian Renadin. second place in Pro Stars, the Magic Man himself, AJ Myers. And your main event winner in Pro Stars in back-to-back years, Mateus Morgado. Congratulations, fellas, here. That signs off all the podium ceremonies from the Queen City Gambit and our coverage as well. Round 2 of the Stars Championship Series continues as we head to the Newcastle Motorsports Park, the birthplace of Stars Championship Series action. And we'll see you all then. Oh, he's on his way. There we go.
This broadcast is the sole property of Kart Chaser Group, LLC. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the images, audio, or accounts of this event, in whole or in part, without the expressed written consent of Kart Chaser Group, LLC is strictly prohibited. Thanks for watching.